Power stations. Companies like Bluetti love to give us van and bus livers power stations. You'd think that we would have the most use for them considering we live off grid. But I think that it's the average person who has the most use out of one of these. Now, the biggest reason someone like me does not need a power station is they have a massive power station right there. I have installed plugs in the back of the bus that allow me to use this big extension cord, and I have adapters. My extension cord is about 50 feet. So 50 feet from the back end of my bus is my range. It's always more convenient to just use an extension cord and use the power system built in here directly. Now, quick disclaimer. Bluetti sent me this power pack for free, so you should trust nothing that I say in this video. With that being said, I do have experience with power stations. Years ago, I built this suitcase power station. I have a one wheel and I wanted to be able to charge it while in my car. This has one AC outlet at the back of it that can do, I think, 100 watts. And on the side, I have a little USB-C and USB-A plug. And on the top, I have battery terminals that I put on here. So this was my first experience with the power station. And my second experience is with this guy right here. I have used this in some ridiculous scenarios, like trying to pump water up a hill at a festival to have a water slide. So this has come in very useful, but this thing is horribly flawed. The display is unreadable. I can't seem to get it to charge correctly. So this got me hooked on the concept of having lots of plugs and all the feature sets, but this thing failed on execution. So this right here is the AC200L by Bluetti. Now in terms of input outputs, this thing is loaded. It has 4 AC outputs and it also has an RV outlet at 30 amps. 4 USB outputs. It has 2 100-watt outputs, which are powerful enough to run a laptop directly off of the port. And then DC direct, we have a cigarette outlet, which can do 10 amps. So it's pretty standard. And it also has this 48 volt, 8 amp plug. Now I've looked into this thing. I can't find much information on the usability of this plug. Now on the back, it calls this thing an aviation socket. I've looked up this connector and I've found the company that will sell the connectors, but nothing really beyond that. Now, in terms of inputs on the side, we have this DC/PV solar panel input. This can do a wide voltage range from 12 to 145 volts. And so this comes with the cables so that you can plug this into a cigarette outlet or into a solar panel. And then right here, this is a battery expansion port. And then at the bottom, we have our AC input. So that was a lot of yammering about specs. You probably want to know, what can this actually do? Can it do crazy things? Oh yes, it can. How crazy? Can it charge an electric car? Let's find out. And the answer is, yes, you can. Is this practical? Absolutely not. I would never actually do this in real life, but this thing is ridiculous. So I got to do ridiculous things to show you how much this can do. So it can charge a car, but can it charge a bus? Now we are going to stress test the Bluetti. This has a 30 amp RV outlet, and I have adapters to allow this to plug into the bus, and I can vary the charge rate on the bus. So I'm going to plug it in and then slowly turn it up until this can't handle it anymore. So let's see what happens.
Okay, it's all plugged in. It's gonna take the bus a moment to register that there's available power, and then we're gonna see where we're at. So right now we're at about 1772 watts of output. So let's crank it up a bit, see what happens.
So here we are in the bus. My charge setting is actually on this thing. So I've come in here, I've gone to the settings and I've upped it 1 notch. So let's see if it's still charging. So it's actually charging right at the limit. We're at 2,383 watts going into the bus. I don't think it can handle another notch because that's pretty crazy, but I'm gonna do it and see what happens. And when I turn up the setting, it overloaded it, it disconnected to protect itself. That concludes my testing. It pulled very nearly 2400 watts, and then I increased it by almost 25%, which would put it way over that rated capacity. So this concludes the testing. Yeah, let's talk about pricing. Now I've done a bit of a cost analysis on a DIY system versus a power pack. Being a person who does everything myself, I thought that building it yourself would be substantially cheaper. When I did this cost analysis, I was building out a custom system for somebody. It costs about the same for a 2000 watt capacity system. Now, as you scale a system bigger and bigger, it becomes more and more cost effective to go the DIY route versus these all-in-one systems. The solution for these all-in-one systems is adding battery packs that can go to the bottom, expanding their capacity. But for people who are willing to do it themselves or can find someone like me who will come to you and install it, a custom built system at a large scale is better. So for me, the bus system makes sense. I'm glad I did it. If you're in a smaller van and don't know anything about electrical and don't really want to know anything about electrical, dropping one of these in, hooking up some solar panels to its input and calling it a day is a really good option. Also, these things have warranty. They are plug and play. They are built really nice and they're smaller. Compactness of one of these is always going to be smaller than something you have to like mount a bunch of components to a wall. So let's go over a couple more instances, real life usage that the average person would need one of these. You slap one of these into your car, you plug it into your cigarette outlet. Whenever your car is on, it will be charged, and this will give you all the kind of plugs you'll ever need. If you need to charge a phone when your car is off, if you're car camping, this is the perfect drop-in electrical system for any vehicle that doesn't have it. And what's great is whenever your car is off, this isn't charging, so you're not risking stranding yourself by using the vehicle's battery. If you put a little inverter connected to your battery, that puppy can suck your battery dry and then you're stranded. This right here won't be charging when your car's off. Put it in, close your trunk, and you're done. So we're about to leave to go on a road trip, and she didn't have enough time to do her hair. So we're going to use the power pack.
The joy about having bangs is that I feel like I need to wash them every day and just dry them, straighten them. So I washed them already and I'm gonna dry them. I have the hair straightener in here as well, so I'm gonna be doing that while Adam drives.
Yeah.
Okay, so Adam is driving right now. I dried my bangs, got my hair straightener, warming up, and so now I'm gonna do the rest of my hair. Okay, so honestly, this is a super practical usage, especially if you're someone who likes to do your hair, and if you're in a bind having to go on a road trip. Like, it was really nice just being able to do it in the car, so bangs, hair, done.
So this is what I would consider to be the most useful use case for one of these power stations. Right now, I have it plugged into the wall to keep the power station charged, and I have my desk plugged into the power station. This makes the power station function as an uninterrupted power supply, or UPS. Now this is great if I'm doing editing or any other kind of computer work, so that my work is not interrupted and I don't lose my progress. But what I find very useful is that it protects the loss of power to my 3D printer. If I'm 15 hours into a print and that thing loses power, I'm starting from scratch. Anyone who relies on the grid does not have energy independence. You're not creating your own electricity, and so you depend on the grid to be there to run your appliances. That is a very susceptible position to be in. Having one of these at home
can really alleviate any problems that could occur in a short-term blackout. And because this can take a solar input, having a couple solar panels outside could extend its life during a blackout, but this isn't really like a long-term doomsday scenario solution. But for short-term blackouts that are, you know, reasonable and will most likely happen, these are great.
So it's been a week since I filmed that clip. It is still running my computer. I have not shut it off. I'm testing to see how long it can run. You can tell it's been a week because my desk no longer looks nice. So one of my concerns with these things is, can they run indefinitely? And I can't test forever, so it can last a week.
Now, to tie into the beginning of the video, I had mentioned how I think that these power packs aren't very useful for people who have buses, who have power systems in them. You might be asking, why would I accept a sponsorship from Bluetti if I wouldn't use their product? And the reality is, I do use their product. I reached out to them to get this thing, and I got it because of my day-to-day life using my car and with my work as a video producer. With the bus, I don't need it. There are some use cases that I could use it, but I would never buy one of these just as a bus lifer. But as a normal person in day-to-day society, I do need it. I'm charging things all the time. The grid can go down when I'm at home. There's so many uses for this thing as a normal person. That's why I reached out to Bluetti, because they offered to send me one for free for making this video. So thank you, Bluetti, for sending me this thing. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.